Hi guys, and welcome to GistTube TV, where we thrill you with amazing video all day long. If you're new here, please consider subscribing to this channel and hit the notification bell after you subscribe to this channel.
At long last, the true cause of death of the late televangelist and founder of the Synagogue Church of All Nations, Prophet Temitope Balogun Joshua, has been revealed. According to reports and publications that we have currently, the late prophet died after he asked for bank accounts to pay a 200 million naira ransom, the head teacher of the school says. Now, when the late prophet TB Joshua died, there was a lot of talks about his philanthropic works and the causes of his death. While some said he died of natural causes, others said he was sick, others said that he was actually murdered. Now, a principal of the school where some 90 students were kidnapped sometimes in the course of this year, the principal of Saliu Islamic School in Tegina Rafi local government area of Niger State, Hal Azan Gaba Abubakar, has said that he died just days after he asked for the bank account to pay 200 million naira ransom in order to secure the release of the students. He said that he wished the late Prophet Temitope Balogun Joshua, also known as TB Joshua, was still alive to receive the children after his role. This is coming shortly after these students were released by the bandits a few days ago following the payment of the ransom. While confirming that the late prophet had offered to pay the ransom but died the day after he asked for the details of the school's account, Abubakar said the man of God intended to transfer the 200 million naira ransom and he prayed for us and for the release of the children. It should be recalled, however, that the state government had refused to pay ransom to the kidnappers because the bandits often use the money to buy more sophisticated weapons with which they terrorize the people, according to the government of Niger State. The head teacher, Hal Hassan, expressed mixed feelings over the release of the children after a long stay in the hands of the bandits. He said, even though we could not get the promised money, we really appreciate TB Joshua, while disclosing that ransoms were paid to secure the freedom of the abductees. Some parents expressed no regrets whatever for whatever amounts that they paid to the bandits that ensured the safe release of their children. This is to say that the parents actually had to contribute money together to secure the release of their children, and the bandits actually released these kids in batches, so to say. 19 kids were first released, then some other sets, 11 kids were released, onto the total number of the kids that were kidnapped sometime in the course of the year was released. According to Abubakar, except for the child that were lost, we thank Allah that all of them returned alive and well. He was, however, evasive over the amount of ransoms that was paid. He said, I meant the ones gathered by the parents and well-meaning people. It does not mean the state government did. Some other parents who are very ecstatic appreciated God for the safe release of their children and thanked everyone who played one role or the other. So this is to say that the philanthropic work of the late prophet was in full gear. Remember that while he was alive, the founder of the Synagogue Church of All Nations was not just a televangelist, a preacher, a miracle worker. He was also a philanthropist with a little bit of humanitarian work. At one point, a Forbes blogger estimated that Joshua spent $20 million on education, healthcare, and rehabilitation programs for the former Niger Delta militants. There is also a rehabilitation program for militants from Nigeria's volatile Niger Delta region, repentant armed robbers, and sex workers who come to the church for deliverance. He was engaged in a lot of community support. He provided financial aid to several communities in distress, notably providing 2 electrical transformers to a local community after theirs was burned beyond repair. He donated a lot of money, over 26 million naira, to communities that needed it to restore electricity and put an end to over 2 years of power outage in 4 councils in the Akoko area of Ondo State, where he's from. He has additionally made several large donations to police forces in Nigeria, Ghana, and Colombia. The SCON, Synagogue Church of All Nations, has a scholarship program which caters for the academic needs of students in their thousands, ranging from primary to tertiary education. In 2012, Joshua sponsored a Nigerian student doing a PhD in Oxford University, with Nigerian media reporting that she received £100,000 from the church. He also gave scholarship to a young Botswana to study at Harvard Law School in America. After the 2010 Haiti earthquake, his work did not end there. Joshua sent a team of medical personnel and humanitarian workers to the affected area, establishing a field hospital called Clinic Emmanuel. These and many more are some of the things that this controversial televangelist, it was controversial in his lifetime, has been involved in. When news broke, however, that on the 5th of June 2021, just few days to his 58th birthday, that the 57-year-old televangelist died, everybody was in mourning. Nations were in mourning, churches were in mourning, fans of him, members of his church were in mourning. The Synagogue Church of All Nations actually has over 15,000 worshippers every Sunday. People will come to him for prayers and for miracles, because he was a miracle worker in his lifetime, which actually gave him a lot of controversies, because there was the HIV deaths in London, because he said that he asked people, reports had it that he asked people to stop taking medication, people that have been diagnosed with HIV, to stop taking medication because he could heal them. There are reports of him saying people that were chronically ill should not take medications because it was going to heal them, and then they end up dying. But then reports had it that he himself actually died after a brief illness. So it was very controversial in his lifetime, such that a media publication actually addressed him or referred to him as one of the religious leaders with so much influence on Africa and African leaders that Western diplomats should look into associating and aligning with him so that they can reach Africans. According to them, in Lagos, Joshua's mega church regularly attracts some 15,000 worshippers every week. It is an international pilgrimage site with more visitors than Buckingham Palace and the Tower of London combined. His YouTube channel, Emmanuel TV, has an audience across Africa and elsewhere in the world. It has an estimated 1.8 million subscribers and 600 million viewers. His Facebook page has over 6 million subscribers. He was the first African televangelist to use the internet and satellite television to sell his religious vision to a domestic and international audience. Joshua's preachings appear to be an amalgam of conventional Pentecostal themes plus prosperity gospel prophecy. In fact, he predicted Hillary Clinton victory in 2016. He is a miracle worker, healing exorcist, patriarchy, and he also preached homophobia. At the time, YouTube had to shut down the Emmanuel TV for homophobic hate broadcast. It also incorporated practices borrowed from African traditional religion, such that he was majorly regularly criticized by the mainstream Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria for false miracles and healings. It wasn't embraced also by the Christian Association of Nation of Nigeria, an umbrella Christian political organization dominated by churches of European origin, though CAN can send a delegation to Joshua's burial. But many of the clergies of defined Anglican, Methodist, Presbyterian, Roman Catholic churches questioned whether Joshua could even be described as a Christian. But even at that, he has a huge followership and following. So you really cannot say that his impact is not felt in Nigeria, contributing to a lot of philanthropic work and trying to alleviate poverty and help people in Nigeria. Also contributed to one of the reasons people were enamored to this man who is now late. Anyways, guys, that is the end of this video. Reports have it, and it's been confirmed that he died just days after requesting for the account details of the school of the kidnapped girls, of the kidnapped students in Niger State, because they wanted to pay their ransom shortly before his death. But at least we are very grateful now that the kids have been released and they are reunited with their parents. Let me know if you enjoyed this video in the comment section. I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.